I want you to imagine something. Imagine being hated by the very people who were supposed to protect you and love you the most. Imagine growing up believing that you were not enough, you were not lovable, you were not worthy of love. And if you could just be a little smarter, a little bit kinder, a little bit more successful, maybe your parents would love you finally. But the truth is, no matter what you do, it will never be enough for narcissistic parents. If your parents are narcissistic, every achievement of yours will be criticized, every mistake will be magnified, and every attempt to become an independent individual will be sabotaged by your own parents. And you start to ask yourself the most painful question, which is, why do my parents seem to hate me? Why they are trying to destroy me? And if you have ever asked yourself or wondered why, then this is the video. So watch till the end. Narcissistic parents are incapable of unconditional love, as they view their children as an extension of themselves rather than an individual, independent human being. They see their children as tools which they can use to manage their own ego and feelings and emotional needs. You are in their life to validate their emotion and make themselves feel good and look good than the other way around. And when you refuse to do that, that's when the abuse begins. Normal people, including normal parents, do not need others to validate their emotion. They are capable of doing that on their own. But narcissistic people cannot do that. They always need others to make themselves feel good. They need the admiration, the attention all the time. And narcissistic parents delegate this duty to their children because they are easy to control and always available. They see their children as a source of validation or some kind of property that they own. They don't care what the child wants, and they just care how the child make them feel or make them look in front of others, and only allow the child to do things that will make them look perfect in front of others. One of the reasons your parents hate you is their need for control and not connection. Narcissistic parents need to control every aspect of their child's life because it makes them feel powerful and in control. The child is an easy source of constant admiration and validation for the narcissistic parent. Thus, when they try to break free from the narcissist and try to become an independent individual with their own thoughts, making their own decisions and setting boundaries, the narcissistic parent sees it as a threat to their control and tries to sabotage it, tries to guilt trip the child. They use phrases like, after everything we have done for you, this is how you repay us. They try to guilt trip them, and it often works. The child often fall for these guilt trip tactics and end up staying behind with the parent and end up being a narcissistic supply for their narcissistic parent and unable to make decisions for themselves in their life. Another reason is that they envy you. Narcissistic parents envy their own children. It is a very painful realization for any children that their parents are jealous of them, but narcissistic parents are jealous of their children. No matter how confident the narcissists seem, they are very insecure individual and they have low self-esteem. So when the child becomes successful or achieves something that is more than the parent, they actively tries to sabotage it. They try to sabotage their life, their achievement. And because of this jealousy, the narcissistic parent often minimize the child's achievements, criticize their success, or change the subject completely to divert the attention from the child to themselves. They are not only jealous of the child's success, but also their beauty, the attention they get, or the amount of money they make. And because of this jealousy from their own parents, they develop imposter syndrome. They doubt their own worth. They start to believe that they are not enough, and they start to become afraid of success. Another reason is that they need a scapegoat. Narcissistic parents, or in general narcissists, do not like to take responsibility for their own action, and they always try to find someone else to blame. Thus, for narcissistic parents, it becomes their own children, and they end up becoming the scapegoat. So, when everything goes wrong in the family or in the narcissist's life, the scapegoat get blamed for it, and the narcissist take credit for everything that goes right, even though they don't have anything to do with that thing. And if the same thing goes wrong, it get immediately blamed on the scapegoat. They strategically choose one child in the family to be the scapegoat and blame everything on them that goes wrong in the family, and constantly criticize them and even blame them for things that are beyond their control for their age. And over time, the scapegoat develop low self-esteem and internal shame after being blamed for everything for many years, which affect them in other aspects of their life in the future. Narcissistic parents see you as their competition. Normal parents want their children to be successful, and they feel a sense of pride when their children outshine them, outgrow them, and become an successful, independent individual. But narcissistic parents are the opposite. They see their children, especially the scapegoat, as a competition or a threat to their own success. Narcissistic parents don't want you to become more successful, more intelligent, or more educated than them, and they do everything in their power to make sure that happens. They sabotage the scapegoat's every attempt at growth and independence, and even after all the hurdles, the scapegoat makes something out of their life. They constantly demean them, criticize them, and compare them with others. They make sure that you don't feel confident enough to be successful in the future, and they strategically do that. And that's how they sabotage the future of their own children. Normal parents won't even think about doing such thing to their own children, but narcissistic parents not even think about it. They strategically plan to ruin the life of their own children. Narcissistic parents lack empathy. This is one of the core issues of narcissistic parents. They lack genuine empathy for their children. Normal parents generally care about their children, their needs, their emotional well-being, but narcissistic parents don't do any of that. Because they are very self-absorbed and only care about their own needs, their own emotions. Instead of validating the emotional needs of their children, narcissistic parents want the children to validate their needs, their emotional needs. Normal parents try to understand how their children are feeling and validate their feelings, but narcissistic parents do not do that. They often minimize their emotional needs as well as physical pain and invalidate their feelings all the time and make everything about themselves. These children becomes adult with poor emotional regulation and seek validation all the time, and often get into relationship with narcissists as an adult. Narcissists have a very black and white worldview, especially narcissistic parents. They have a very rigid, emotional, immature way of perceiving their children and categorizing their children. Normal parents don't discriminate between their children, they love their children equally. But narcissistic parents categorize their children into golden child, the scapegoat, and the invisible child. One is idealized and the others are discarded, devalued, and blamed for everything. They have an idealized narrative about what kind of children they like, and it often involves someone as narcissistic as them, who needs constant admiration and attention all the time. And that is why the golden child is very compatible with the narcissist parent, because they both need constant admiration and they give each other that. And if you don't live up to that narrative, they discard you and you become the scapegoat. Because their capacity to relate to their children is conditional. And if you do not meet those conditions, you are discarded, neglected, which is not possible to do for normal parents. If you're treated like this by your own parents, remember that nothing is wrong with you. It's not because something is wrong with you, but because something is wrong with them. They were not normal parents. Their constant need for admiration, attention, and narcissistic supply led them to abuse you. You never deserve the hate, and you never will. You are just born in the wrong place. If you have experienced narcissistic hate and abuse from your parents, let me know in the comment section. And please subscribe to my channel for more videos on healing emotional manipulation, narcissistic abuse, and truth. Remember one thing: the child that they blamed and abused is not who you are, but the person you become after healing is what you are.